Donald Trump has been making a lot of noise about possibly running for a third term as president. His official store is selling Trump 2028 hats for $50, and on a recent trip to the Middle East, he raised the possibility again, along with his usual lies about the 2020 election.
We won 3 elections, okay? And some people want us to do a 4th. I don't know. We'll have to think about that.
Well, sorry, Donald, a third term is not happening, and here's why. First, the 22nd Amendment expressly states that, quote, no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. That's pretty clear. Some of Trump's allies, however, have proposed a loophole around the word elected. One idea that's been floated is to have Trump run as vice president with J.D. Vance as the president. Vance would be elected president, and then he would very generously step aside. Setting aside J.D. Vance's historic unpopularity, which doesn't exactly make him a shoo-in for the top job, plus the extreme unlikelihood that Vance would actually resign if he won the election, there is the 12th Amendment. The 12th Amendment to the Constitution provides that, quote, no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. If you take the 22nd Amendment and 12th Amendments together, it means that because Trump is not eligible to be president under the 22nd Amendment, he's not eligible to be vice president under the 12th Amendment either. But if Trump decides to go ahead anyway, he'll run into another major obstacle: lawsuits. You may remember the dozens of lawsuits filed to keep Trump off the ballot in 2024 because of his role in January 6. Under the 14th Amendment, you can't hold federal office if you're an insurrectionist. There were at least 50 lawsuits in 35 states, and the Supreme Court of Colorado even kicked Trump off the ballot before the Supreme Court ruled that only Congress can decide who is an insurrectionist. You can bet that Trump, running for a third term, would invite potentially hundreds of lawsuits brought by state election officials, voters, opposing candidates, members of Congress. His candidacy would have to be approved by the Supreme Court, which seems unlikely given the clear language of the Constitution. Could there be a constitutional amendment clearing a legal path for Trump? Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles would like to try, but it would need the approval of 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of the states. And so far, Ogles has 0 co-sponsors for his legislation, not even reliable Trump sycophants like Marjorie Taylor Greene. But here's the number one real reason Trump won't get the third term that he desperately wants: public opinion. According to an ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll from late April, 80% of Americans oppose a third term for Donald Trump, including even large majorities of the MAGA base. For example, 74% of non-college white men oppose a third term, as do 70% of white evangelical Protestants and even 60% of Republicans. For the record, 97% of Democrats oppose it too. When Congress was debating the passage of the 22nd Amendment in 1947, Republican Congressman John Jennings of Tennessee gave the following speech, which seems eerily prescient given what's happening today. He said, "Without a limit on the number of terms a man may serve, the time may come when a man of vaulting ambition becomes president. Such a man, clothed with the vast powers of the presidency and backed by a subservient Congress, as commander-in-chief of our Army and Navy, could well have in his hands the 2 mightiest instruments of governmental power, the sword and the purse." But under the proposed amendment, he said, no president will have the power to perpetuate himself in office, create a dynasty, and to substitute a succession for an assured rotation in the presidential office. So the meaning of the 22nd Amendment is clear: no kings. I'm Ann Kim, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.